When we do our yoga practice, we're doing it alone. You know, you're always sort of on the island of your own individual mat, and yet we are learning through our yoga practice that we're connected to each other, we're connected to everything. And so it's a way of going on our own personal adventure in order to understand that we are together. So here we are. We'll start today in child's pose, so you can just find a comfortable way to come down onto your knees, either the knees together or apart, rooting the tops of the feet, and then lowering your torso so that you can rest your belly onto or between your thighs. You can let the forehead settle towards the floor. And we'll just take a few moments here to find the breath. You might keep your arms reaching forward so that as you're inhaling, you're looking for a longer stretch out through your fingers, back through your hips. And as you're exhaling, you're letting your weight settle more heavily towards the floor. And big breaths into the back body as you're inhaling, exhaling to find more of your weight. And just continuing to attune to your own breathing here, and allowing your breath to carry you towards your own center. Maybe beginning to develop your Ujjayi breath. So as you're breathing, you're noticing the path of the breath specifically along the back of the throat. Maybe there's some sound to that breath. You might notice that as the breath moves into the deeper spaces of your body, the breath encounters tension or knots. And then the breath is able to loosen or untangle those knots. Good. And then from here, we'll slowly walk the hands over towards the right. It's just coming into a long side stretch, reaching out through your left hand as you draw back through your left hip. You might even walk your left hand on top of your right hand for a little bit more of the sensation of the stretch. And again, paying careful attention to how your breath moves in your body. You might see how the breath reaches its fingers into the spaces between your left side ribs, into the length of your left side waist. And then we'll walk the hands over to the left. Walking especially long out through your right hand, maybe even setting your right hand on top of your left hand, drawing your right hip back as you stretch out through those right fingers, breathing into the whole length of your right side body. And you feel how the breath broadens and spreads the right side body. And then we'll walk back to center. And from here, finding your way to all fours. And then we'll lower all the way down onto the belly. Yeah. Bringing your right forearm to the floor, and roll onto your right side. So we're going to stack the left side body exactly on top of the right. So your legs are straight here, the feet are stacked left on top of right. And seeing if you can get your ribs left over right. You can keep your left fingers to the floor just to help you balance here. And then you can kind of drag your right forearm against the mat towards your right hip as you pull your right side ribs forward in the direction of your right forearm so that we get a longer sense of the space in the right side body. So it's maybe a little bit of a subtle sense of the stretch, but we can feel, again, that kind of broadening, widening quality through the right side body. If this feels like enough, you can just stay as you are here. If you want to explore a little bit more intensity, you might come up onto your right hand. So the right hand is in front of the line of the right shoulder. And then again, we're kind of dragging the right hand against the floor towards the right hip as you pull your right side ribs towards your upper right arm so that we can really lengthen out through the right side waist. And steady full breaths here. And then we'll slowly lower down onto the right forearm if you've come up. And then you can just switch right over onto your left side. So rolling onto the left forearm, stacking your right leg on top of your left, right hip over the left hip, and then kind of dragging your left forearm against the floor towards you to pull your left side ribs in the direction of your upper left arm. Just getting that subtle sense of the stretch out through your left side. And then again, if you'd like a little bit more intensity, you can come up onto your left hand. Left hand is in front of the left shoulder, drawing the hand against the floor towards you as you pull your left side ribs in the direction of your upper left arm, and settling into the space of the left side waist. And then we'll slowly ease back down onto the left forearm, onto the belly. We'll place both forearms to the floor. I'm just taking a moment here for a little bit of a sphinx shape. So you can root through the tops of your feet, drag both forearms against the floor towards you, reaching your ribs forward in the direction of your upper arms. Taking steady, full breaths here. You can really feel how you can draw your ribs through the upper arms as you melt your shoulders back. And then we'll slowly settle back down onto the belly, bringing the hands in by the side ribs. Inhale to come back up to your hands and knees. And exhale, taking your hips up and back, moving into downward dog. We'll take a few steady breaths here. Seeing if you can find any small movements that help you to settle into this shape and find your way home into this shape. Maybe you like to bend your knees, rock your hips, anything that feels good. And then as you inhale, you ripple forward into plank, bringing your shoulders over your wrists and puffing up through the upper back. We'll take a few moments in this plank shape, lifting through the inner lines of the legs, pressing the mat away from you, spreading the shoulders wide on your back, and breathe into the point between your shoulder blades. Again, that kind of ballooning quality in your upper back as you're breathing in. Finding a little bit of a shortening in the belly, the front ribs hugging towards your pubic bone. Access all of the strength of the core. Maybe you can lean your weight a little bit farther forward, more into your finger pads. And then as you exhale, finding your way down, might come down with the knees first or lowering one straight line. And this time we'll inhale into a little cobra, root the tops of the feet, reaching the ribs forward, drawing the shoulders back, lengthening out through the belly. Exhale to soften back down, hugging in through the belly, tucking your toes under, inhaling, pressing up to all fours or straight up to plank. Exhaling to take the hips up and back, moving into downward dog. And again, taking a few moments here, seeing if you can find the most comfortable way to be in this pose. And rooting strongly through the hands, which includes rooting through your finger pads, through the inner edge of your hand. As you press down through the inner edge of your hand, can you roll your upper arm bones outwards away from your ears? Can you spread the upper back a little bit wider? And from there, pressing forward and down through the hands, can you lift your hips higher away from the earth, really lengthening out the space of the center body. As you exhale, keeping the hips high, you can reach your heels away from your hips for more space down the backs of the legs. And we'll find one more fluid vinyasa. As you inhale, you can ripple forward into plank, again rounding through the upper back as you bring your shoulders over or even forward of your wrists. Exhale, lowering your way, maybe all the way, maybe just to chaturanga. And we'll inhale to cobra or upward dog. And exhaling, taking the hips up and back, moving into downward dog. And from here, walking your feet slowly towards your hands, arrive at a comfortable forward fold. A little bit of bend in the knees if you like, or even a lot of bend in the knees if you like. And as you inhale, you can come halfway up, reaching your ribs forward, maybe bringing your hands to your shins if that's helpful. Exhale to empty the belly and sink back down. Inhale again to come halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale to empty and sink back down. And one more time, inhaling to come halfway up, reaching the ribs forward. And then exhale to empty and settle back into your fold. And from here, we'll just stay for a moment, dangling the body nice and heavy. You could bring your hands to your opposite elbows if you like. Maybe swaying a little bit side to side if that feels good, or shaking your head out. A little bit of yes, a little bit of no. And just allowing the weight of the head to drop off the end of your spine. So there's no effort in your neck or your face. With your next exhale, let the hands settle back towards the floor. Knees at least a little bit bent. We'll inhale to slowly roll up towards standing. So just coming up bone by bone, arms and head nice and heavy as you come up. And then pressing firmly down through the feet. You can start to lengthen up through your ribs, reaching your tailbone towards the heels, and spreading the shoulders out nice and wide, crown of the head reaching tall. And next inhale, reaching your arms up alongside your ears. Exhale, folding, bringing the hands towards the floor. Inhale to come halfway up, reaching the ribs forward, nice long spine. Exhale to settle, letting the head hang heavy. And pressing into the feet, inhale, long spine, coming all the way back up, reaching your arms tall. Exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. We'll inhale to reach the arms up, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, folding, feeling that hug in the lowest area of your belly to increase the fold at the hips. Inhale, halfway, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale, emptying the belly and melting back down over your thighs, head heavy. And pressing into the feet, inhale to grow all the way back up, arms reaching for the ceiling, nice tall stretch. Exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. And then once more, inhaling to reach up tall, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, folding, hands towards the floor. Inhaling halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhaling to scoop in the low belly as you settle back into your fold. Pressing into the feet, long spine. Inhale, reaching up even taller. And then exhaling the hands back to the center of the chest. We'll inhale to reach the arms up tall, nice full stretch. Exhaling to fold forward, bringing the hands towards the floor. Inhaling to come halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhaling to soften down, stepping your right foot back. We'll bring the right knee down to the floor. Inhaling, just one breath to take the arms up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, the hands come right back down to your mat, straightening your right leg, pressing the floor away from you. Careful step back to plank. And slowly finding your own path to downward dog. So whatever feels best for you. Maybe we're exhaling to lower. Inhaling to come into a little back bend, cobra or upward dog. Exhaling to take the hips up and back, downward dog, or whatever other variation of a flow you like. And then we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest, stepping your right foot forward towards your hands, bringing your left knee down to the mat. Inhale, the arms reaching up, coming into your low lunge. Exhaling the hands back to the floor, stepping your left foot forward to meet the right, back to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale to settle back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhale, hands to the center of the chest. And we'll inhale to reach the arms back up, nice tall stretch. Exhale, folding forward, bringing the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up, reach the ribs forward. Exhale, softening, stepping your left foot back. Keeping the left leg straight, we'll inhale to reach the arms up into a high lunge. Exhale to settle your shoulders, settle your hips. Hugging through the center line of the body, starting with your feet. See if you can hug your right foot, your left foot towards each other. Draw the inner lines of the thighs towards each other. And then pull in and up through the low belly so that you can lift your ribs away from your hips. Really nice solid foundation here. As you exhale, turning to the right, we'll bring the left arm forward, the right arm back, so about parallel to the floor. Nice wide reach out here through the fingertips. Grow taller as you inhale. Maybe you can turn a little bit more to the right as you exhale. Another full cycle of breath, inhaling to grow upwards and outwards. Exhaling, a little bit more turn. And then taking your right hand down to the back of your left thigh. And inhale to reach your left arm alongside your left ear. Really stretching all the way into that left hip crease as you reach back through your left fingers. And then we'll exhale to bring the hands slowly back towards the floor, holding the midline through the legs so that you stay steady. And stepping back to plank. And again, moving with your own breath, finding your path to downward dog. Next, inhale, reaching your left leg up and back. And then exhale, hug the knee into the chest, stepping your left foot towards your hands. And inhaling to slowly come up towards your high lunge. I'm just taking a moment here to find that solid foundation. So we let the shoulders and the hips settle. And then we start to hug through the feet, through the inner lines of the legs, draw in and up through your low belly. See if you can carry your ribs away from your hips. And as you exhale, turning to the left, your right arm reaching forward, your left arm reaching back, spreading the arms out nice and wide. Maybe as you exhale, you can feel the hug in the low belly, which helps you to turn a little bit more. Another inhale here to broaden out through the arms, grow taller up through the crown of the head. Exhale, turning a little bit more. And then taking your left hand down to the back of your right thigh as you inhale, reaching your right arm alongside your right ear. Again, long stretch through the right side body. Keep the inner lines of the legs hugging towards center so you know where your middle is. As you exhale, hold that hug towards center. Slowly windmill the arms back towards the floor. Stepping your right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale, halfway up. And exhaling to settle back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale, coming all the way up. Arms reaching for the ceiling. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. It'll inhale to reach the arms back up, nice tall stretch. Exhaling to fold forward, bring the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up, the ribs forward. Exhale, softening, planting your hands and step or hop your feet back, finding your own path to downward dog. And traveling through your own vinyasa, using your breath as your guide. And then we'll inhale here to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest. Step your right foot forward towards your hands. Again. And then we'll walk the hands just a little bit farther forward. You can start to roll onto the knife edge of your right foot. So we're turning the right toes out to the right and rolling off of the sole of the foot. And then we'll also roll onto the knife edge of the left foot. So you're letting your left heel settle to the left. And then reaching your right arm back behind you, stretching your fingertips in the direction of the back. See if you can keep your hips here a little bit lifted, and then roll your right side body open. And we'll exhale to place the right hand back down to the floor, turning your right toes forward, setting your right hand to the inner edge of your right foot, and rooting the sole of your left foot. And then from here, we'll reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, opening the chest up wide. If this is a little bit too deep for you, you might choose instead to place your right forearm onto your right thigh and then open up wide from there. Just taking a few steady breaths in this shape, seeing if you can keep rolling your left side ribs to stack on top of the right, hugging your right hip in towards the midline as you keep your right knee aligned in the same direction as your right toes. And then pressing down through the feet. From here, we'll come up to warrior two, arms out shoulder height, and sit the hips nice and low. Good. Straightening your right leg. And inhale to reach your right fingers as far forward as you're able, and then exhaling to bring the right hand down, the left arm up, moving into triangle pose. A few steady breaths here, sending your hips back, reaching your ribs forward. Again, seeing if you can roll the left side ribs open to stack on top of the right. And then pressing into the feet, inhaling to come back up to standing. Exhaling to bend your right knee, warrior two. And we'll inhale to reverse warrior, the right arm sweeping back. Exhaling to windmill your hands down to the floor, tucking your left toes under. Careful step back to plank. Moving with your own breath, finding your own path to downward dog. And then we'll inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, drawing the knee into the center of the chest, stepping your left foot forward towards your hands. And making sure that your foot is a little bit behind your hands, so you might walk your hands forward here a little bit more. And then we'll start to roll onto the knife edge of the left foot, so left toe is turning out to the left, peeling the sole of the foot away from the floor, dropping the outer right foot down to the mat, so right heel rolling over to the right. And then from here, reaching your left hand towards the back of your mat. Keep pressing down through that right hand, so maybe the hips don't sink too deep. See if you can stretch farther back through your left fingers, and you can roll that left shoulder a little bit more back behind you. Good. And then we'll exhale to bring the left hand back to the floor, tucking your right toes under, turning your left toes forward. Set your left hand now to the inside of your left foot, rock onto the heel of your right foot, so the sole of the right foot is rooted, and then reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling. Good. And again, if this is a little bit too deep, you might just come up with your right forearm onto your right thigh and work from there. So we're seeing if we can hug the right hip in towards the midline, roll the left side ribs open, and keeping your left knee aligned in the same direction as your left toes, even as you draw that left hip in towards center. And seeing how you can inflate the body with breath here, how you might find a little bit more space or a little bit more freedom within the boundaries of this shape. Pressing down through your feet. From here, we'll come up to warrior two, arms up about shoulder height, and then straightening your left leg. You're inhaling to reach the left arm forward, exhaling to bring your left fingers down and reaching your right arm up for triangle pose. Seeing if you can send your hips back, reach your ribs forward, and then again, roll the right side ribs open. Maybe a little bit of a sense of a twist. Wherever you've ended up, just seeing if you can look for more space in this shape, some way to stretch it out a little bit wider, maybe through the arms, through the ribs. Again, freedom within the boundaries of this pose. Perhaps a useful skill right now to look for more space within whatever enclosure you find yourself in. And then we'll inhale to come back up. Exhale, bending the left knee, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, the left arm reaching back. Exhaling to windmill the hands down to the floor, stepping back to plank, moving with your own breathing, finding your path to downward dog. At the end of your next exhale, you can bend your knees, looking forward. You can step your feet or hop your feet up towards your hands. Inhale, halfway up, reaching the ribs forward. Exhale to empty and sink back down. Pressing into the feet. Inhale, coming all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhaling, bringing the hands together at the center of the chest. Good. Taking your hands to your hips, lean your weight into your right foot. We'll pick up the left knee, and then bring the left knee out to the left so that you can place your left foot somewhere along the inside of your right leg, either below the knee or above the knee, but not right on the knee. And once you've found the right place for your foot, make sure that the hips are square, so those front hip points directed straight forward. And then we're seeing if we can bring the left thigh bone more to the left without turning the hips. Root down through your right foot and press your left foot and your right leg firmly into each other. So again, find that holding of your midline so you know where your center is. If we know where the middle is, we can drape the body softly around that strong center. From here, maybe hands to the center of the chest, maybe reaching your arms up alongside your ears. Nice tall stretch up through the fingers. And then we'll slowly start to bring that left knee forward. Find a little bit of softness in your right knee as you take a big step back, landing in warrior one. And inhaling here to reach your arms up tall, but exhaling to take the hands to the floor, stepping back to plank, moving with your own breath, your path to downward dog. And we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, drawing the knee into the chest. Step your right foot towards your hands. And again, we'll walk the hands a little bit farther forward, rolling onto the knife edge of the right foot, so right toes turning out to the right, peel off the sole of the foot, rock onto the outer edge of your left foot, reaching your right hand back towards the back edge of your mat. You can see if you can again roll the ribs open. And then exhaling the right hand back to the floor, straightening out your feet. Right hand comes to the inside of the right foot, settle through the sole of the left foot, reaching your left arm up to the ceiling, and rolling the left side ribs open. See again if you can hug your right hip in towards the midline as you lean your left shoulder in the direction of your right thigh. And then pressing down through the feet, we'll inhale to come up to warrior two. Exhaling to straighten your right leg, turning your right toes towards the left. We'll angle the toes slightly inwards and take your hands to your hips. And inhale to lift the center of the chest. And then exhaling to fold, bringing your hands towards the floor. And we'll inhale here to come halfway up, reaching the ribs forward. Exhaling to scoop in the belly, folding back down. Take your hands flat to the floor if that's available to you. Keep growing up through the backs of your legs, seeing if you can lift through the sits bones, spread the sits bones wide, so you're inhaling to breathe into that wide base of your pelvis. As you exhale and scoop the low belly in, maybe you can reach your ribs down away from your hips so that the crown of the head can extend towards the floor. So looking for length through the mid-body, length in the spine. If your hands are on the floor, maybe you're pressing slightly down through the hands to settle your shoulders away from your ears. So there's this little bit of lift in the shoulders to keep a spaciousness around the neck. And again, letting go of your head as much as you're able here. So there's no effort in holding your head onto your body. And then we'll inhale to come back up onto the fingertips. Exhale to bring the hands to the hips. Inhaling to come all the way back up to standing. Turning the right toes forward, bending your right knee, bringing your arms out shoulder height. You'll inhale to reverse warrior, the right arm sweeping back. Exhaling to take your right hand in front and to the right of your right foot. And start to tiptoe your left foot in a little bit closer to your right until you're ready to lift it off from the mat. And then reaching your left arm up towards the ceiling. So moving into Ardha Chandrasana. See if you can root down through that right foot, stretch back through your left foot, roll your left side ribs open, wide space across the chest. And we find the balance here not by trying to hold still, but by moving in every direction at once. See if you can reach out through your arms, reach back through your left foot, down through your right foot, spread wide across the chest. And then as much as you're reaching out in all of those directions, also find the way to hug towards center again. So we want to feel like we want to push the left leg down, but we don't let it move. So the inner line of the leg is active, the belly drawing in towards center. So you're hugging again that center line that keeps you steady. Another big full breath in here. And then as you exhale, you can just take your left hand down to the floor and then bring your left foot down beside your right so you're back to your forward fold. We'll inhale to come halfway up. And then exhale to empty and sink back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale all the way up, arms reaching for the ceiling. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. And then bringing your hands to your hips. And root down through your left foot. We'll pick up the right knee. Take the right knee out to the right so that you can place your right foot somewhere on the inside of your left leg, either below or above the knee. And once you've found the place that works best for your foot, again, seeing if you can really push the foot into the inner line of the leg. Make sure that your hips are square, so the front hip points straight forward, and then that right leg moving out to the right without turning the hips. Just be really honest with yourself what that wide space across the front of the pelvis looks like, how we get the length in the inner line of the leg. And then we'll bring the hands to the center of the chest if that feels available, reaching your arms up alongside your ears if that feels available. Nice full breath in here to reach down through the root of your left foot, up through the branches of your fingers. And slowly taking your right knee back towards center. Find some softness in the left knee. Take a big step back with your right foot, landing in Warrior One. Again, the inhale takes the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhaling to bring the hands down to the floor. Stepping back to plank and finding your path to downward dog. And with your next inhaling, reach your left leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest, step the left foot towards your hands. Walking the hands maybe a little bit farther forward, rolling onto the outer edge of your left foot, settling onto the outer edge of your right foot, and then reaching your left arm back towards the back edge of your mat, rolling the chest open, and exhaling the hands back towards the floor, turning your feet to point forward, settling your left hand to the inside of your left foot, dropping the right heel, and then reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling, chest nice and wide. See if you can roll your right side ribs open here. And then keep hugging that left hip in towards center, even as you make sure your left knee is pointed in the same direction as your left toes. Maybe you can find a little bit more bend in your left knee. Maybe you can soften your right shoulder back in the direction of your left thigh. We'll press down through the feet. Inhale to come back up to standing, Warrior Two. And then as you exhale, straightening your left leg, turn the left toes towards the right. And angle the toes again slightly inwards. We'll bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale to lift the center of the chest, and then exhaling to fold, letting your arms settle away from your back. And just taking a few slow, steady breaths here. Breathing again up the line of your backs of your legs, into the wide space of the base of the pelvis. The exhale scoops the low belly in so that you can reach your ribs away from your hips. So the spine is getting longer. Keep allowing the arms to melt away from the back at whatever edge is available to you. So there should be a nice stretch in the shoulders, but not too much. Nothing that feels like strain. And maybe you can relax a little bit more through the muscles of the neck, the muscles of the face. So there's no effort in holding your head onto your body. And then we'll press down through the feet. Inhale to come all the way back up. Exhaling to turn your left toes forward, bend your left knee, arms out shoulder height, warrior two. And we'll inhale to reverse warrior, the left arm reaching back. Exhale, placing your left fingers in front and to the left of your left foot, and creep your right foot in a little bit closer until you're ready to float up into half moon. Right leg parallel to the floor if possible. So you can roll your right side ribs open, stretch wide out through your arms, reach back through your right foot, reach down through your left foot. And then feel, as much as you're stretching outwards, also that we hug towards center, that we know where the middle is, the inner line of your right leg active, the belly drawing in. Yeah. Another full inhale here. And then we'll exhale to bring the right hand and the right foot down to the floor in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale to settle back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale to grow all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. And bringing your hands back to your hips, again, shifting your weight into your right foot, pick up the left leg, moving back towards tree pose, so bringing left knee out to the left, settling the foot towards the inner line of the right leg, finding again that hug towards the midline. As you're ready, maybe hands towards the center of the chest, arms reaching up alongside your ears. If this feels like enough of a challenge to your balance, you can just work here. Or we might bring the left hand down to the top of the left thigh, the palm facing up, and then start to reach out through your right arm into a little bit of a side bend. And the more you can hold the midline with your low body, the more you know with your low body where that middle is, the more you're able to take the upper body off center. So see if you can find that asymmetrical shape by keeping the left foot hugging into your right leg really strongly. And then we'll inhale to reach the arms back up. Left knee comes forward, softness in the right knee. Take a big step back with your left foot. Again, landing in warrior one. Nice inhale here to reach the arms up tall. Exhale the hands to the floor, stepping back to plank, moving through your own path to downward dog. We'll meet each other there. And we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale to draw the knee into the chest, stepping your right foot towards your hands. This time we'll bring the left knee down to the mat. You can set your right foot to the inside of the right hand. We're going to turn the right toes out to the right, but keep the sole of the foot rooted. And then step your left hand off to the left. See if you can let the hips sink a little bit deeper. And then placing your right hand towards the inner right thigh, maybe with the heel of the hand kind of in towards the hip crease, so not too close to the knee. Keep the hips settling. You start to roll your right side ribs open, so finding a little bit of that sense of the twist. And then we might just stay here, or you could reach your right arm back behind you, or you could pick up your left foot and reach with your right hand to find the top of your left foot. And if you find the top of the foot, then you might start to draw it in towards the hip for more sensation across the top of the left thigh. And just letting the hips be nice and heavy. Continue to lift up through the center of your heart. Find length in the belly as you roll back through your right shoulder. And steady full breaths here into whatever sensation arises for you. And again, our aim is to see if we can find a way to practice the shapes that honor that there's a boundary or an edge in the shape, and still we feel less contained as we breathe into the boundaries that we explore. And then we'll slowly let go of that left foot, bringing your hands back towards the floor. And straighten your right toes forward. We'll straighten the left leg, settle the left heel, and the right hand is to the inner line of your right foot, reaching your left arm up to the ceiling, opening the chest up wide, rolling your left side ribs open. And pressing down through the feet, we'll inhale to come up, warrior two. Let the shoulders and the hips settle here. Good. And then finding our way back towards Ardha Chandrasana, so you're leaning your weight into your right foot, your right hand in front and to the right of your right foot, and let that left leg float up, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we see if we can start to bend the left knee, and maybe with your left hand, you can find the top of the left foot, either from the outside or even from the inside. Pressing firmly down through the right foot, start to lift the inner line of your left leg and push your left foot into your left hand. So long stretch along the top of the left thigh and through the length of the belly. Again, finding balance here by maintaining activity in all of the ways that you reach outwards and all of the ways that you hug inwards. And if we find an equal amount of force in every direction, then we stay in the middle. And slowly release that left leg, bringing your left hand towards the floor, closing in the hips, set your left foot beside your right, forward fold. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhale to settle back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale all the way up, arms reaching for the ceiling, nice tall stretch. Exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. And then hands to your hips, leaning your weight into your left foot. Pick up the right knee. Bring the right knee out to the right. Set the right foot towards the inside of your left leg. Hug the left foot, the left thigh, the right foot, the left thigh into each other. And then we'll bring the hands to the center of the chest. Hands reaching up towards the ceiling if you feel able. And just working here if that's where your edge is. Or finding your right hand down to the top of the right thigh. And then reaching out long through your left side body. And the more we can hold center through the low body, so right foot, left leg connecting into each other, the more we're able to find an asymmetrical shape in the upper body. And then we'll slowly reach the arms back up, bringing your right knee forward, softening through the left knee, big step back with your right foot, landing in warrior one. Take an inhale here just to reach up nice and tall. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the floor, stepping back to plank, finding your own path to downward dog. And then we'll inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest, step the left foot forward. Bringing your right knee down to the floor, set your left hand to the inside of your left foot. And turn your left toes off to the left, set your right hand off to the right. And bring your left hand to the inner left thigh with the hand close in towards the hip, fingers pointing in the direction of your knee. Keep letting the hips sink low. Start to peel your torso away from your left thigh by leaning back through your left shoulder. So you might find that your left arm straightens out a little bit, but it's not because you're pushing your leg away from you. Rather, you're growing your torso away from that thigh. And then you might reach your left arm back towards the back edge of your mat. Or you might pick up your right foot and reach with your left hand for the top of the right foot. If you find the foot, you might start to pull the heel in towards your hip. And again, continuing to breathe into whatever sensations arise for you. Continuing to lengthen through the belly, actively lifting up through the center of your chest. And then finding more of that lean back through the left shoulder. And then releasing your foot if you're holding onto it, bringing your hands back to the floor about shoulder width apart, and turn your left toes forward, straightening your right leg, settling the heel towards the floor. So the sole of the right foot rooted, reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling, opening the chest up wide. Couple steady breaths here. Again, good bend in your left knee, hug the left hip to the midline, and keep leaning your right shoulder in the direction of your left thigh. And then pressing down through the feet, we'll come up to warrior two. And just settle into the shape. Comfortable alignment. And then leaning forward into your left foot, bringing your left hand in front and to the left of your left foot. You can creep that right foot in until you're ready to float it up off the floor. And rolling the right side ribs open once. And then bending your right knee. See if you can reach with your right hand to find the top of your right foot, again, either from the outside or the inside. And then we see from there if we can begin to push the foot into the hand, to lengthen through the inner line of the right thigh, the top line of the right thigh, a little bit more space in your belly as you stretch your heart forward. Good. And then slowly releasing that right foot, bringing your right hand to the floor, closing the hips, right foot beside the left, back to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, reach the ribs forward. Exhaling to empty and sink back down. Pressing into the feet, inhale all the way up, arms reaching tall. And exhaling the hands to the center of the chest. And we'll inhale to reach the arms up, nice full stretch. Exhaling, folding forward, bringing the hands towards the floor. Inhale, halfway up, reach your ribs forward. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping the feet back. One more time, finding your own path to downward dog. And then from there, you can settle your knees to the floor, and we'll find our way once more into child's pose. So again, your choice, knees together or apart, tops of the feet rooted, big toes touching, sitting your hips towards your heels, melting your torso over your thighs, and let the forehead rest towards the floor. You can keep your arms reaching forward, or if you like, you could bring your arms back by your sides. And just taking steady breaths here. You can feel the breath ballooning into the back of your body as you inhale. As you exhale, settling into the hip creases, the knee creases, allowing gravity to pull the weight of your body into the earth. So we can feel how we are bound to the earth, how we are connected to the earth. Maybe allowing both the breath, but the physical shape of this pose as well to carry you once more towards your own deep center. And we'll inhale to come slowly up to seated on the heels. And take your hips off to one side, bringing the legs forward. And we'll start with the left leg straight forward and hug the right knee in towards you, and then step your right foot towards the outside of your left leg, sitting up nice and tall, bringing your right hand behind you. Inhale to reach the left arm up, and then we'll exhale to turn, so maybe you can connect your left arm in some way with your right leg. And continuing to breathe here. As you're inhaling, growing up taller, exhaling to roll the right shoulder back. Maybe follow that turning with your gaze. And then just noticing how breathing is enough to carry you into this shape. We don't need a lot of extra effort. You notice that each inhale gives you capacity for more space, for buoyancy in the ribs. And the exhale automatically pulls the belly in, which gives us more capacity to twist. And on the inhale, there's always possibility to let something go. We'll slowly turn back towards center. Coming now into Gomukhasana or half Gomukhasana. So we can bring the right heel towards your outer left hip so that the knees are roughly stacked. And then you could either stay here with the left leg straight, or we can shift weight over to the left hip, bend the left knee, bringing the left heel towards the right hip, and then resettling the hips so that they're evenly rooted. If you feel any sensation of discomfort in your knees in either of those shapes, then maybe just find something to support your hips a little bit, like a cushion or a block of some kind. And then your hands can be on the ankles or on the floor, whatever works for you. And then letting the weight of the hips settle and grow up a little bit taller through your ribs. Maybe closing your eyes here and directing your attention inwards towards your own center. And let the face and the shoulders relax. Let the outer hips melt. Continue to grow taller every time you inhale. And noticing the space in the spine. The feeling of length in your spine. If you want to explore a little bit more deeply into this pose, we might move into a forward fold here. So you can start to stretch the ribs forward and lay your belly towards your thighs. And then we'll inhale to come slowly back up if you fold it forward. And uncross your legs. Take the right leg forward, hug the left knee in towards you. Step the left foot towards the outside of your right leg. Find the front edge of your sits bones, or sitting up nice and tall. And place your left hand behind you. Inhale to reach your right arm up. And then exhaling, continuing to turn as you set your right arm in some connection with your left leg. Grow taller each time you inhale. And following your exhale into the twist. And noticing lean into your left hand. Maybe you can come off of that left hand a little bit and use it to push the floor away from you rather than leaning into it, so that we get more of the inward scoop of the low spine, less roundness in the low back. And therefore, more ability to grow tall through the rib cage and a comfortable twist. Exhale to unwind. And then taking the left heel towards the outer right hip, either just settling here or bending your right knee, bringing the right heel towards the outer left hip. So again, seeing if we can roughly stack the knees. Make sure that both hips are evenly rooted, whatever it is that you end up sitting on. And then your hands to your ankles or to the floor. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes so that, again, we're more interested in how the shape feels internally, less interested in processing visual information. As you're using your breath to explore that internal landscape, see where you can find more space, more of a sense of freedom. And again, you might explore the fold here if it feels available to you. So we're lengthening the torso as we lean the belly towards the thighs, the heart towards the knees. And you're just going to an edge which still feels comfortable for your knees. There should be no strain in the knee joint itself. And steady breaths here. We'll inhale to come slowly back up. And uncross your legs. We'll take both legs straight forward, finding the front edge of the sits bones. You're sitting up nice and tall. And as you inhale, you can reach your arms up alongside your ears. And then we'll exhale just to melt over the straight legs, or maybe there's a little bit of bend in your knees, also fine. And seeing if you can find a comfortable forward fold, a shape that feels useful to you. So making sure that there's enough softness, enough room for your breath. And we're able to breathe into the length of the spine, right into the tailbone. As you're inhaling, the center of the chest reaching towards your big toes. And as you're exhaling, feeling that scoop in the lowest part of your belly that allows you to crease a little bit more at the hips so that we can keep those long lines in the legs and the long line in the spine. And we'll inhale to come slowly back up. And you might bend your knees, place the soles of the feet to the floor, hang on to the backs of your thighs, and from here, as you exhale, you can slowly melt your way down onto your back. Bringing your knees into your chest, and take your hands or your arms around your shins. You might rock a little bit side to side, just gently massaging your back against the floor. And then releasing your legs and finding your way into Shavasana. So you might have your legs out straight, or if that feels uncomfortable back, you might choose to place the soles of the feet to the floor and rest the knees in towards each other. Arms by your sides. I would recommend palms facing up and rolling the thumbs away from the center line so you can relax through the inner arms. Perhaps taking some time to really consciously unlearn that pattern of holding towards center so we can allow the inner lines of the legs to be softer, the inner arms to be softer. Take a moment to relax through the belly and let go of any hardness or gripping in that area. And then soften the chest so that the breath can be its most natural. Relax the throat, relax the face, the jaw, the lips, the eyes, the point between your eyes. The yoga practice in general, I think it helps us, for the most part, learn about our own resilience. It helps us learn how we are able to change and transform and heal. But Shavasana, corpse pose, also allows us to explore our mortality, that thing that we're so afraid of. Allows us to practice in the most peaceful way, letting go of everything that binds us to the world, every attachment that we have. So for a moment, see if you can feel comfortable with losing everything. Notice that maybe it doesn't have to be so scary. Maybe in some way there's a quality of buoyancy in all of that letting go. We'll stay here for a couple more minutes. Don't run away yet. And I'll let you know when we're ready to find our way back into life. conscious breath. Noticing how your breath is alive in your body. And then by beginning to find small movement in your fingers and your toes. With an inhaling, reach your arms up behind your head. Take a long stretch. Your fingers. And we'll exhale to roll onto the right side. Resting for a moment in this fetal shape so you can find a little bit of curve in the spine, a bend in your knees. The first shape that we know as humans. The shape of new beginnings. And then bringing your left hand to the floor to press yourself slowly up towards a comfortable seat. And we'll just take a moment here in this comfortable seat, cross-legged or whatever works for you. Closing your eyes and sit up nice and tall, placing your hands on your knees or in your lap. Let the shoulders settle away from your ears. And find now a quality of alertness in your spine. And just noticing the changes that you've perhaps explored in your practice, anything that you've discovered in your practice, anything that you now know about yourself or see more clearly about yourself. But also how knowing yourself more clearly allows you to see how much you are connected to others. And bringing your hands together at the center of your chest and thank yourself for this practice. Namaste.